Chevalier of Chevalier Life, and welcome back to another episode of Conversations with Chevalier. Tonight's guest is one of my heroes in the cigar game. I like to give flowers, and I definitely want to give this guy some flowers. I started out, I met him, and he's been an amazing mentor to me. He's been a wonderful supporter of Chevalier Life, and I've done the same with Definition Cigars. His name is Mr. Jamond Hackley, the owner of Definition Cigars. We'll get him in here in just a second. Hey, what's going on, my brother?
What's going on, big brother? Let me get this this camera together here. All right, that's not it. Technology. Technology.
You're almost there. Take your time.
We're almost there. Let me see. Jamond.
Let's see. Still got you to the side. You know what? That's what I had going on earlier today.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
What I'm gonna do is, let me see if I'm gonna switch devices. I'll be right back, you.
All right, jump on out of there. We'll keep it going for you.
Right.
All right, so y'all see my man Jamond Hackley, owner of Definition Cigars, is coming in. He's my guest tonight. Hey, I was having technical problems too this morning. I couldn't get it together, man. But while we waiting on him, I'm gonna go back with my theme song. So you guys know in the Chevalier lifestyle, we smoke the cigars, sip the whiskey, sing to the music, and savor the cuisine. And every show, I play this song by one of my former guests, Mr. Philip Doc Martin. The track is called Won't Let Go. And this is the song that I start my day off with every day to get me going, to get me hyped up. There's something about that groove, that bass line. I grab my Definition cigar. This one is the Lena. I sit back in the chair and I just feel the vibe. And that's what the Chevalier lifestyle is all about. That's what the vibe's about. It's about enjoying your cigar, sipping a little whiskey, singing to some music, of course, and savoring the cuisine or whatever you like. Jamond will be back with us in just a second. He had a couple of IG issues, but he's working on it. I welcome all of y'all that are joining me tonight. I see my sis, Maduro Melly. I see my girl Kia, my home skillet, Follow the Smoke. Man, Cigar Avengers, the real majors. Man, I appreciate you guys jumping in with us, man. We'll be back in a second, and he's having a little technical difficulty. But I hope you guys are ready for Christmas. I am, man. Look, all my kids are coming home today, so this is probably going to be my last opportunity to do some real Instagramming this weekend. You know, this week it's the Christmas holiday, but I am going to enjoy great cigars and going to have some really good some times with my family and stuff. I hope you guys are going to do the same. Remember, stay safe, stay smoky. I had this thought today when I was at work. Every time I go out for the holidays, we seem to lose a person when we come back. And so let's all be mindful. You know, even though it's the holidays, we got to be careful out here. You know, a part of living this cigar lifestyle is about respect, you know, love, but we also have to be very careful, man, to get home to our families. So I wish you all a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, you know, from me and my family to you and yours from the Chevalier Life. And man, we're going to get our boy back in here in a minute. Like I said, he's switching devices, and then we're going to get it going. I'll tell you something about him. So Jamond started Definition Cigars back in 2019. And I remember when I first met him, I was just starting Chevalier Life. You know, back then it was called Chevalier Critiques, and I was doing I was doing critiques on restaurants in the area, but when COVID hit, I started smoking cigars more. I wasn't much of a cigar smoker back then, and I started smoking cigars more. All right, we're gonna be getting him back in a second. Send me a request, brother. I'll bring you right on back in. And I started smoking cigars, but I met Jamond early in the game when I first started vending and doing my custom humidors. And like I said earlier, man, it's always been a wealth of knowledge, always a positive word, to encourage me to get it going. So it's been an amazing journey meeting this guy. And for my last show of 2025, I wanted to have him as my guest, and thank God he said hello. Yeah, I'm saying say hello. He said yes, and he's coming on. So let's see. We'll try to get him back in here. We'll get him in here in just a second. While I'm enjoying this amazing cigar, by definition cigar. We're waiting to get him in. I know he's having some issues with his Instagram. For those of y'all just joining me, he came in sideways, and so we're trying to get him on back. Let me just, Jamon, I'm gonna send you an invite real quick and see if you get that. I'll tell you what, tonight, while we're waiting, I decided to pair this amazing cigar with a Basil Hayden dark rye. Something about that, man. The flavors of the cigar, of the tobacco, explode when I drink it. Drink it with the Basil Hayden dark rye. Let's see here. La Velas. We're waiting on our guy to get back in. He had a little technical difficulty tonight. Let's see. I'm wondering, should I go out and come back in? There we go.
There we
All
go.
right, there we go. I knew
We're
we
cooking
was
with
getting.
gas now.
Yeah, yeah. The best way to cook, man. How you doing?
Man, I can't complain. Chevalier, how are you today, my brother?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I'm on cloud 99 right now
Yeah.
for a couple years. I've been wanting to do this show, and I kept saying every time I see you, I run into you. I always say, "Come on, man, we got to do something," and we always say
100%.
yeah. But to be honest, man, I was scared.
Whoa.
I was
For
scared, man.
what?
I met you when I first started 2 years ago, and
Right.
I said I got to be right when I bring this brother on conversation with you. You're
Oh
like,
man.
I gotta be cool. I gotta have my all black on. I gotta have my logos on. Because I listen to you, man, and we gonna talk
Right.
about that. You
Right.
always about the branding, man. And so I really appreciate you for accepting my offer. I
Yeah.
finally
Thank you
got
for
the
having
nerve
me.
up. Yeah, I got the nerve up to do it, and
Oh
so.
man, no, you're crazy, man. I'm a big fan and admirer of what you have done, continue to do, and how you've navigated and went about doing doing what you do with your platform. It's all organic. You're you're not trying to win fans the wrong way. So I'm just a super fan of you individually and what the brand represents.
And you, man, the lessons. The lessons that I think you may not even realize, man, that you're like an instructor for me or a mentor. It's those
Oh
quiet
man,
lessons when I sit back, bro, and I walk into a spot because we're both here in the DFW. And so
sure,
I walk into a spot and I run into you, man, and I always see you doing your thing. And one of the things that I noticed some years ago is that you're always conscious of your brand, always
mm,
conscious of your brand. You're going to always have something definition on. I remember once, it wasn't too long ago, I saw you, and we even talked about, what it's like to make sure that you maintain a kind of wholesome atmosphere as
sure,
it relates to sponsors seeing you with alcohol in your hand. Even though
sure.
we do this, and my whole premise is smoke the cigar, sip the whiskey.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
started looking at it a lot different after we had that conversation. And the cool thing about knowing you, man, I don't know if you realize it, but every time I've ever spent any amount of time with you, no matter how long or how short, you've affected me in some way that I felt like it's taken me to the next level. And I thank you for that.
Oh man, wow! I appreciate that. I just you know, Chevalier. There's a simple rule. Everybody else is taken. I just try to focus on being the best version of myself and not anyone else. And I'm a big believer in energy attracting, right? And when we just talk or kind of BSing over a cigar or whatever, there's something that just manifests itself through a conversation. While you are intentional about your experiences and it's a part of your brand, the conversation piece, there's an intentionality around that, which which results for you in having some meaningful conversations with probably a lot of people that you come into their presence. So I think there's just an intentionality by yourself, and then there's the energy that is there where you get something out of having a conversation with somebody. So that should always be the goal.
Oh yeah, man. So let's jump right into it. Because I said I
Let's
didn't want
do
to
it.
keep it longer than 60 minutes. So I
Hey,
want to jump
I owe
into
you
it.
about 10 though. I owe you about
That's
10
all
though.
right. No, that's all right, man. Look, we already know that we're gonna do this again because this was supposed to be
100%.
my first face-to-face
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
And man, I couldn't get my stuff right, man. My portrait. I was like you when we started on my computer. I could everything was to the side. I was like, "There's no way I'm gonna go over to the land of definition and be
Hey,
messed
we're
up
gonna
like
figure it out.
that." Yeah,
We're gonna
yeah.
figure it out.
I say, I see, man. I say this all the time before we get into this. Before I do an interview, no matter how many times I do a conversation, not an interview, man, I be nervous and sick to my stomach, man, like half the
Yeah.
day before. Like I've been sitting
Yeah.
outside for the last hour, man, just kind of sipping on a little
Um,
basil hay and trying to get
yeah,
my
I'm the
mind.
same way. I'm the same
Yeah,
way. I'm the same way. I'm the same
yeah.
way.
It's kind of crazy, man. But let's get into it. So, man, I want to talk about your journey. Who was
Yeah.
Jamond Hackley before cigars, before
Woo.
Definition Cigars? Who was Jamond?
Oh man, I was uh I had aspirations of being a sports broadcaster. Um that was, I lived the whole hoop dream. Obviously, understood that is a 1 in a million chance. Was a decent player, but wasn't nobody that really rocked the world. Did have the opportunity to go to college behind that, but I had transitioned to want to be on TV and want to talk sports and that
Oh,
sort of
wow.
thing. So that was me. That was me. That was the goal. That was the vision. And then God blessed me and had different plans to make me a father at 21 years old. So you kind of transition from wanting to be Ahmad Rashad to hey, we got a mouth to feed. So
Yeah.
that was kind of my early adulthood. Prior to that, building up to the man that I am today, and that was came from humble beginnings. Chevalier, we didn't have a lot, we had enough. Spent a lot of time um, learning things the hard way through um, being not the most productive to society with some of the decisions that I was doing in my teenage years, and but developed lifelong friendships as a result of that. Like just today, a high school teammate of mine was battling something, and he lost that battle today. So
Wow.
I got that news from my best partner back home. So man, it's just one of those things. But I was able to visit him over the Thanksgiving holiday and spend some time. But all those relationships and the sports and being able to pivot and manifest certain things has always been the result of having roots with the Lord. My mom, um, who, you know, I'm sure we'll get into the Genesis conversation at some point a little bit, even through her struggles with addiction and that sort of thing, we always found solace in our relationship with God and being taught that. So everything that I am and what I was and those journeys that we all go through, you know, I still had a praying grandmother, still had a praying
Hey,
auntie, still had a praying mama, to help me navigate through that. And as a result, Chevalier now, you know, that's still a big part of who I am and you know, how I try to see the world.
yeah, I can relate to that, man. First of all, I want to say, my condolences to you on the loss of your brother.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you.
I just went through something like that a few months back, and that's something we never really rise above. We just learn to cope.
Yeah, for sure.
We learn to cope, but we never get over that. I think when we lose somebody that we're connected with, whether it's a sibling or a friend, uh, we lose a part of ourselves. And
Yeah,
the challenge going forward is always trying to figure out how to navigate with that missing piece. And so
yeah,
I'll be praying for you and your family, man,
I
and
appreciate
his
that.
family as well. But
Yes.
so the introduction to cigars, man. Like you went through
Yeah.
life, you did college, you wanted to be a sportscaster, you wanted to do a lot of stuff, obviously.
Yeah.
What was your first introduction to cigars, and how did you know it was going to become the passion, a
Yeah.
way of life?
Man, it is funny how the subconscious operates inside of you, and how it manifests itself. Cigars have been a part of my family ever since I can remember. My grandfather was the cigar guy. I mean, Chevalier, I go back through old scrapbooks, and this guy had a cigar at the birthday parties. You know, back in the day, man, you smoked in the car with kids. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like,
We weren't so lit. We weren't so lung conscious back then.
for sure, for sure. So at every birthday party, I was flipping through about 6 months ago, flipping through, and man, Granddaddy had a cigar in his mouth for everything. And my grandfather was my dude. Was a man's man. Was a truck driver, but a professional truck driver. Um, Chevalier. He would spend 30 minutes on the art of backing a truck into a dock. Like this, like when you talk about a professional truck driver, just like anybody else, any professional in their own field, man, he took it serious. But cigars were always his thing. And I wanted to be like my grandfather. Obviously, he was the man in my life, the mainstay. And man, I was introduced individually. My grandfather was out on a trip. He used to get Thompson mail order cigars in, and would keep them in his humidor. And I snuck back there about 9 years old, being a little badass, and said, "Man, shit. I see Granddaddy do it. You know, why not? You know." When we was kids and at night he be out there. He loved bluegrass music, if you can believe it.
I can't.
Proud black man, but loved his gospel bluegrass. And man, so we would sit out there at night when my grandmother would go to sleep, and he would sneak us, me and my cousins, little sips of Pabst Blue Ribbon back in the day. So I transitioned that. Well, damn, Granddaddy never let me hit that cigar though. So I'm gonna go ahead and then indulge myself. So I still won. Didn't have a cutter, obviously. Grabbed a knife out of the kitchen, ran to the backyard, took his old, you had to put lighter fluid in the lighter, but you would strike it one time and it was just a soft flame. And man, I went back there in the backyard and caught myself smoking that cigar, Chevalier, and damn near killed myself. And had to come back in the house and tell on myself because I was so sick to my grandma. Uh, So that at 9 years old, that was it, man. That was the first time that I kind of dove into what a cigar was. But it was some years later that I got back in though.
Man, did you swallow the smoke, bro?
I swallowed everything, my man.
Hey man, I don't think there's one novice cigar smoker that ain't swallowed the smoke. I remember the first
Man,
time I did that, dude. I thought I was gonna die, man. I don't know if it was the liquor or the smoke or what it
cool.
was, but my whole body, man, it felt tight. I guess 'cause I was just like, oh my god, what the hell did
Yeah,
I do?
shut it down. Your body was like,
Yeah.
this ain't for us.
When did the switch flip, man? Like you went through life, When did
Yeah.
that switch flip, man? And you was like, oh shit, I got to figure out what I'm gonna do with this because I don't want to do nothing else. It's cigars or nothing. When did that switch flip?
I mean, Chevalier, it's been more recent than you believe. Definition Cigars was a passion project initially to impact culture, impact the community, give perspective on what tobacco means when put together correctly and when humidified correctly, when just done from an appropriate standpoint in the eyes of the beholder. So as a result of that, there was some success. You live here locally in
Yeah.
Dallas. There was some small success there with that approach of tobacco, and man, you don't know what you don't know. I know what I taste with tobacco, know what I kind of like to do, but hell, I didn't know everybody else may like it too. So, the early days, there was a lot of support from the factory and how we navigated that. And I got to know my palate a little bit more extensive relative to how tobacco works and what you can do and how you can mimic certain flavors
Hmm.
with using certain tobaccos and two leads versus one, all that nerdy shit, right?
Right.
So, I mean, I guess, man, about 3 years ago, man, you kind of take a look at this and you start forecasting and forward thinking. And as I said, I've always leaned on my faith, and you just try to walk in your purpose, and in doing so, uh, there were things shown to me that confirmed that we were moving in the way in which the plan was established. So I embraced it, and then started really making some changes and some plans around offering all of myself to the cigar community and the industry.
Yeah, I can relate to that, man. I remember when I started in 2021. I was just doing thoughts of a classic man every day, and
Yeah.
one of my really good friends, my brother-in-law down in Houston, does the Black Cigar Festival. And he reached out to me and said, "Say, man, I need you to come up with some products." I said, "What?" "I need you to come up with some products and be a vendor." I was like, "What kind of products?" He said, "Some
Yeah.
shirts, something, something."
Do
So
something.
the Black Cigar Festival that we were going to do was in July of 2021. He
Okay.
calls and makes this call to me in April, like the end of April of 2021. And so my sister and I sat down, bro, and we came up with some designs for the shirts. And then we came up, she was like, "I got this idea. The humidors, we got to personalize them." And I was like, "Huh."
Ooh, huh.
I said, "Show me what you're talking about. Show me what you're
Right.
talking about." So she said, "Well, your birthday coming up, I'm gonna make you something." And so she makes me a humidor. It was a small humidor, hold 10 to
Okay.
15 cigars, man. And she put a picture. As a matter of fact, this very
That
picture
that shot right
right
there.
here. She put that shot. I shot this at CI when it first opened in the colony. I did
Okay.
a selfie. She took the picture, made it into a deal, put a little red in ash, you know, printed it on the humidor. So I'm looking at the humidor like, how did you put this on here? She said, I thought maybe like she took a picture and cut it out or something.
Right.
She
Right.
said,
Right.
no, no, I'm a graphics designer. Don't worry about the, what's she say? Don't sweat the trick, enjoy the magic. I was
There
like,
it
right
is.
on. I got you. And man, from there we started, and I never knew that it would ever grow into me doing conversations with Chevalier. Nothing
Yeah.
like that. Nothing like that. Like I didn't see any of this, man. And I
Yep.
remember I met you right after. I met you right after, and I would see you guys because it was you, and then you had the good guys with you. You
What I'm
know,
saying. What I'm saying.
yes. I would see Neo all the time.
Yeah.
And one day I came, you guys did a thing over at Stone Trail
Okay.
one
Yeah.
night.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I came, and so I went to go buy some cigars. They was like, "Oh no, man, no, man, hey," because you know I'd always see y'all. I buy me up
Yeah.
like 10 conceptions. The
Yeah.
conception,
100%.
yo,
Yep.
boy, you almost gave me a stroke when y'all pulling off the thing for a little while. But I bought my conceptions, and then he gave me some hats, and so everywhere I go, I was rocking definition, you know,
Yep. Sure.
and been supporting ever since. And I
Yeah,
love the
man.
y'all the home team. So, did you come up with this idea by yourself, the definition, or was it a group effort, or what was it? How did
Yeah.
you make it to that?
In the early days, uh, it all was because of a circumstance. We, as a collective group, we wanted to change narratives, right? And to what was expected of a person just to enjoy a premium cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, Definition Cigars is rooted in wanting the person that's deciding to smoke to make sure you're defining your own experience. Let it be an individual um, experience. Do not do what Chevalier does because Chevalier loves the taste of dark rye with his Aneo. That's cool. You can maybe jump on it, but that shouldn't be your thing. You know
Right.
you got to find your lane. If you know you're not a dark rye drinker and that doesn't hasn't worked for you, man, stay where you at and be comfortable in doing the one thing because a lot of times, and this is only my belief, a lot of times people are turned off by cigars when they are novice or when they're first getting into it is
Right.
because they're listening to what their buddy is doing, right? So if you're a beer drinker and you say, man, Chevalier, I do want to enjoy a cigar. You have knowledge, man. I'm gonna meet you at the lounge. Now, again, you like the dark. That day you may be on dark rye, but I believe that for the person who's just getting into it, meet them where they're at. Don't try
Right.
to change them just yet. They can work up to that. So if they like vodka, get them something that they're comfortable with drinking, or if it's water or Coca-Cola, whatever it is. Start them there. Give them a premium cigar that isn't triple Lajero. You know what I mean? Like be
Right.
be be
Right.
smart about it. Give them something to work them in. And I've seen more times than not when that person has some level of comfortability in
Mm-hmm.
approaching cigars, they're more apt to stay there and work up to the different experiences that you can have with cigars. So that's always been my thing, and that was what we were founded on. That's what we still believe, and that's what our marching orders are: is to scream from the mountaintops to um, be you. Define your own self, yourself. We always say, "What's your definition?" And
I
you
was
know
just
why
about to say it.
it's a popular
Yeah.
hashtag. It's like there's some real question there. Like, make sure you're doing your thing and not someone
Right.
else's.
Right. Right, man. I love that about y'all, and it's funny. Excuse me. I've watched. I remember you being um, I would say a local brand. Then you guys
Sure.
became a regional brand
Correct.
really fast, like a year and a half or so. You're a
Yes.
regional brand, and now a national brand. And every time I every time I get up in the morning, I pull up something about definition, cutting light in Hoboken, Arkansas,
Right.
cutting light in Maine, cutting light in
Right.
Seattle, cutting light in DC, cutting light in Virginia, cutting light in Atlanta. What is that like for you, bro? Because obviously people are answering the question what their definition is, and they're wanting it more and more. Because every
Yeah.
cutting light I get feedback from people. I was someplace one time, and a guy asked me, "You ever had a definition cigar?" And I said, "Have I?" Hell yeah.
Maybe a
And
time or two.
yeah, every now and then. And man, how do you? how did you did you even decide how you were going to branch out and work to be that national brand that you are now? How did you do
Yeah.
that?
I mean, so it was a it's easy to say. I'll say that. I won't minimize it because there was a lot of work went into it. But the whole philosophical approach was to take care of home base first.
Hmm.
Be here, um, share the love, share the story, share the tobacco with our home base, and the focus was on Texas, and you know doing market research when it came down to how we were going to navigate this journey between California, Texas, and Florida makes up about 80% of all cigar shops in the entire country. So we're in Texas. It didn't make sense, albeit there was some early opportunity to do some things. It didn't make sense to jump out until we fortified the main, the home base, which was the main thing. And the very first lounge, and this is when we were still a local brand. She's my sister, lifelong friend, someone that I admire. In Atlanta, Christine Morgan, Lipsticks and Fingertips, for those
She's
that
in
you
here.
know.
She's
Okay.
in here.
Hey, baby
She's
girl. But we used to, I used to live in Atlanta for about a year and a half, Chevalier. And before there was anything definition or Lipsticks and Fingertips, it was a group of us, Cigar Mike, and we used to always just meet and
wow.
smoke. And yeah, it's funny. Like when we all get together to talk about, man, like this, when I go back to uh, my faith-based approach with everything, like God was setting me up and putting me around these really cool people to change perspectives, thought processes, and that sort of thing. But not to go down that rabbit hole, excuse me. Because we were so close, she was like, bro, she had a lounge, she had a brick and mortar. She was like, put the cigars out here in the A. Let me do my thing with them. And man, let's just continue to push and grow and push and grow, push and grow. So um, we did that in infancy stages. I mean, she 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 was a huge supporter of what I was doing and navigated the shortcomings of what you didn't know at the time, right?
Right, right, right.
So she pushed, was the very first person to put definition in Atlanta, and that alongside of what we were doing locally here in Dallas and in the surrounding cities here in Texas, with what she was doing in Atlanta to get it out there, really kind of springboarded. Like Atlanta metropolitan area, the suburb cities. Atlanta is the second biggest market of the company. It's
Right.
about 12, 13 different stores out there. And I don't think that would have taken place had we not gotten in early and people got to know the brand, traveling out there, getting to know myself, obviously living out there and having
Mm.
those relationships. So in navigating it, Chevalier, to directly answer your question, it was a methodical approach. It was ensuring that we were able to scale to meet the expectations of the customers, and for our customers, the consumers coming into those lounges, just making
Mhm.
sure that we were doing the right thing. So it was methodical. So what you've seen in the past, I would say 18 to 24 months has been a plan of attack to
Wow.
now push nationally, the CI relationship, and we
Right.
got a couple other big hitters that are wanting to do things, but continue to be methodical and stay to the plan of attack. So
Yeah, everything has its time.
yes,
Everything has its time. I think that's probably one of the biggest lessons that I've derived from watching you move is that I noticed that you're very strategic. And I remember when you announced the CI thing, I remember going, ooh,
yeah,
ooh, that's not only going to be good for you, but that's going to be good for them. Because in this area, I felt like, there was a decline in a sense in cigar enthusiasts going in there. And I
Correct.
remember after I was there in the colony when you guys first started up there with them. I remember coming in there and seeing how many people that I knew here in the DFW that really smoked, that were real smokers.
Yeah.
They were more enthusiasts, not smokers. And I
Sure.
remember seeing a lot of those people at CI that I hadn't seen there in quite some time. And as I was talking to people, they were like, "Yeah, man, we came out. Definitions doing their thing, so we're gonna come
Right.
support." And I
Yeah.
made a point to get up there too because I never go up there anymore. And I made a
For
point
sure.
to get up there, and man, I was really impressed. And that's when I knew these guys are moving to the beat of their own drum, and they are very strategic about what's
Yeah.
happening. And then you name some names like Cigar Mike and
Yeah.
Christine, man, and both of those people are big influences for me. I'm big
Correct.
fans, and I know
Yeah,
Christine,
man.
I know Mike, man. I had him on the show earlier this year. We
Yep.
kicked it at, of course, we all kicked it at
100%.
PCA, but we got a chance to kick it, and man, just to know that you are affiliated with those guys even before you started speaks volumes about why and how you do the things that you do now. Because Cigar Mike is probably one of the most methodical people that I think I've ever met in my life,
Yeah.
brother.
Yeah.
He,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh my
100%.
God, that guy.
Yeah.
Some people see it when he dancing and he kick it. They don't know what's beneath all of that.
Correct. Correct.
They
And
don't
it's
know what's beneath.
yeah, and when Mike does do those things, he's committed to it. There's a reason. He wants people to have a good time, and he's at his expense sometimes, right? But he doesn't
Yeah.
give two shits. It's about pouring back into the culture that has poured so much into us, and just giving back to it, man. In the way that we all do.
Well, bro, we all have encountered resistance. I've had some resistance getting started.
Yeah.
You say it's probably been your biggest challenge since you started, definitely.
Oh man, the biggest challenge. So there's levels to it, Chevalier. I think early on the strategy was focused on um, attempting to do business with people you assume would be on board with wanting to do business. And I found out very, very, very fast that that isn't always the case, no matter how it looks. So that was the first challenge. Um, More so than anything, the most consistent challenge I think that our organization has faced has been from a boutique perspective, and this is no respect to person. This is just some things that had happened prior to definition was boutique brands not being able to produce.
Right.
So you guys have a great product. I do my part as a retailer. I'm getting it in people's hands, and then when I place that follow-up order, you're telling me you don't got sticks for 6 months. So I had prepared myself both from a um, um, strategy, financially, and then a specific way in which we um, try to prepare the cigars for distribution, to
Mhm.
get in front of that, to knock that myth down. And I think, for the most part, are we perfect? No, but I think if you ask all of our retailers, for the most part, we do stand to live up to our moniker of supply and the demand.
Yeah, that's a fact, and I've seen that a lot with some other brands, man. They'll be going strong for a couple months, and then they just don't have sticks. You go in the lounge, and there's empty boxes, and
Yeah,
that's
and Chevalier, you know this.
that.
If you set yourself in that place and put yourself at risk as a cigar smoker, let me stop. One of the things that I never get away from is being that person that crosses over the threshold of a humidor. I never lose that. So I know that, man, if I've came to the lounge, me and Chevalier come to the lounge to smoke, and we're on this cigar and it ain't never there, I'm gonna move on to something else.
Exactly.
And when you move on to something else, man, sometimes people will come back for old time's sakes, but you may miss there when you have
Right.
long periods of outs.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I've seen, man. But I've seen a certain level of consistency with definition. There's
Yeah, yeah,
well, not a certain level. You guys are always consistent in what you're doing and how you promote the brand and how you stay stocked, the way you guys move is just amazing, man. I watch you, and it's just you. I mean, you're the face of definition. You're the man that I see. I don't see nobody else. And it's something about that I appreciate because you're a family man just like me.
yeah,
And man, that takes a lot of sacrifice.
yeah.
A lot of sacrifice. Just some of the things that I do. Man, all my kids are home now for Christmas. I got
Yeah, that's a
I got
blessing.
a 6-footer standing right over here in the
That's a
kitchen.
blessing.
And they're looking at me through the window, right? And what the first thing they asked me, Pops, how long your show gonna be? I'm like,
Yeah,
as long as it is. I mean,
yeah. They want to kick it. They
but
want to kick it,
what
dog.
yeah, they want to kick it. What is that like for you, man, when you think about the sacrifices that you've had to make in order to grow your business, man?
Yeah, I think um, there's a scripture that I lean against. It was taught to me at a young age, and it is um, for many are called, but few are chosen. And in understanding um, what this is for me, this assignment of this season of my life, I lean into wanting to make sure I don't shortchange my blessing. I want to be a good steward of what I've been blessed and what I've been tasked to do.
Mhm.
So, and leaning into that, the sacrifice is just what it is. There was an ultimate sacrifice price that was paid for all of us. So,
Right.
for me to be given an opportunity like this, um, I am going to ensure that I do exactly as is assigned to myself. So yes, I have a 9-year old that still has programs in the DMV, and I have a grandson that I miss time, but with my kids they understand exactly. Sorry, brother. They understand
That's okay.
exactly how I feel about this assignment, so we navigate that. Is it easy? No, but it is my assignment, and for that alone, I have no complaints.
Man, I tell you what, that gives me so much clarity in why you move, even in my conversations with you when we talk about that, man. And I never judge if somebody, is a person of faith or not. There's people that I see that you think they the biggest heathens,
Yeah.
and then they be people of faith. They just are
Mhm.
people that are out there and they're living life, but they are people of faith. And I see that in you. And for some reason, as we talk about it, because we're gonna get into the brands in a second, because
Sure.
one of my favorites, that but man, it's made things come full circle when I thought about, why is this guy like he is? Why is he always so intent about pouring in? Every time I see you pouring in me, I said it earlier, and so I notice I have a clearer and better understanding as to why you move that way,
Man,
and I can appreciate it a lot more, man. Thank you so much.
no,
Thank you
thank
so
you,
much.
brother.
But man, let's get into the brands because you
Let's
know
do it.
let's so I started out with definition and the conception was my
100%.
cigar. That's my cigar. And then, I came to PCA. You were releasing the new Genesis cigar,
Yeah,
the 413, and I tried that. And then I was like, damn, he can't get no better. But you gave me, I make sure I'm saying it right, Neo.
a
You
Neo.
gave
Yes.
you gave me the 413, and then you gave me like three of these. You said, smoke these later.
Yeah.
And you hadn't put them out yet. And you said,
Yeah.
smoke these later. And I was like, man, this one gives the conception a run for its money, man. But that
Cigar is
Gen
crazy.
413, let's talk about it, man.
Yeah, man.
Obviously, you're a man of faith, so we know where the title came from. But
Right.
let's talk about these cigars, man. The
Yeah.
name, how you came about them. Let's go, bro. Start with the
Yeah.
conception.
It's all with intention. Each cigar has a story. Each cigar has an energy, a why, and why it's a part of the definition family of cigars. Um, we don't make cigars for the sake of saying we want to push something out. I, Chevalier. I have 3 finished blends. Um, right now, I'm going back to Nika February to fine tune some things. PCA's obviously in April, and I'm battling against if I want to release them or not. They have their own why, they have their own energy, but there has to be a time and place for everything. So that's how we go about doing our business with the cigars. The tobacco speaks for itself, and then when you are trying to do things in the right way, you have these cool stories that come about as a result of the tobacco just being what it is. So, when we talk about the genesis, we talk about the defajero, we talk about the conception, all those different lines or brands, singular brands that make up definition Chevalier. All of
Mhm.
those cigars have their own specific energy and the why to why we want to share those with the people, and they all have a story. I know for the most part, everybody knows colors. I like the yellow band, or
Yeah,
I like the blue
yeah,
band.
yeah.
We get it, and we love it. We love it, man. We lean into it. Continue on, continue on talking about it in that way. But each cigar does have a name, and each cigar does have a why.
Man, I tell you what, it's been a couple that have really got me and have helped me grow in my cigar journey. So, I started with the conception. We talk
Right?
about we talk about the Genesis 413, but there was a stick, the 919,
Yeah, yeah,
that actually took me in a whole nother direction.
yeah,
It took me in
yeah.
a whole nother direction. And I love that cigar. And as my wife was developing her palate, man, she started out, of course, smoking a
Sure,
lot of infused cigars.
sure.
And I remember I brought her one home. I said, check this out. Check this out and tell me what you think. And man, she smoked it and she was like, oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
that
I
was
said,
the
it's a whole
graduation.
different flavor, a whole different
Yes,
blend, a
yes.
whole different flavor profile, man, that, got me away from the just the basic Maduros,
Sure,
that
sure.
full bodied cigar. It got me away
Yeah,
from that and took me
yeah.
into something a little bit more complex, man. When you guys came up with that cigar, because I remember that one, I don't know if that one was in the lineup when it first started, because I remember that you guys had taken the conception out and a couple others, and you came back
Correct,
with the 19.
correct,
So y'all
correct.
remember we did the deal at Blow and Smoke, and
Yep,
and
yep.
you guys did that. What was that about? What were you guys trying to achieve by? Because some of those was like heavy hitters, man. Like,
Yeah, yeah. That it's funny that you bring up this is never brought up. So I appreciate you for giving me this opportunity. The 919 was a cigar where I kind of found my way when it came to tobacco, Chevalier.
mhm,
Um, I had made that cigar exclusively for my birthday. I had a birthday party at an establishment here in Dallas,
mhm.
and I had did a short batch run of 200, 100 Maduros, and 100 Habano, and I brought those to the party. And the goal was to smoke all 200 of those cigars. I was walking around. If a person got down to the last part of the second third, I was taking it out of their hand,
Yeah.
dumping it. Get a fresh one. Get a fresh one. And the 919, my birthday, September 19th, it was never supposed to be released. And the people that attended the party, they was like, bruh, man, what? No, you got to release it, because the walking stick wasn't even out yet. I had just put a black ribbon around the 919 because it wasn't going to ever be anything. It was just a
Wow.
birthday stick. And, you know, people talk. So we went to full production with the blend in the Maduro and with the Habano and Chevalier. That was the springboard for where um, I may have. I was at the time was like, "Man, well, maybe this is it. You know, like maybe you this." And from there, Chevalier, as you can tell, as you talk about the different blends that have come out since that time, they have been, something different. You know, we lean into wanting to do Maduro, love the flavor profile, love what it does, love the character that it has, but our organization doesn't lean into Maduros to to be what is thought that you should get from a Maduro. We are a flavor forward company alongside Maduro, but we lean into wanting to create an experience. Yes, we have some heavy hitters, but we have Maduros where the novice can really say, "Wow, I smoked a Maduro." Like I've heard that so many times. Like
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I
yeah,
like, and
yeah.
that's what we attempt to do with our tobacco. But we got something for the heavy hitters. Don't get me wrong, but it's everything is going to be led with flavor.
I just like, and that's the perfect way to describe it. You guys lead with flavor, because I'm telling you, man, on my journey with definition, I didn't take an exits on all type of flavor exits, off the freeway
100%.
and cigars, man. Look, and I've actually learned my palate a lot more. I've
There it
learned to
is.
appreciate my palate a lot more,
There it
and I've
is.
started to pick up on subtle nuances as I'm reading, the blends and stuff. I'm
One hundred
picking up on
percent.
that stuff a lot more now than I did when I first started smoking.
And
So it
that's
was really,
what your definition is about. You just said it, and thank you.
yeah,
That's what it's about. You know, there's and I'm not talking bad or talking shit, but if you go on our website, we don't offer notes of caramel and
right. I
butter
noticed.
notes or bacon. We give you the blend concept, the stats, and we tell you what the cigar is made of, and then in wanting you to define your experience, you may look at our blend composition and maybe see something else, and you go to that, and you are able to have an experience with another cigar just based on a little bit of reading
Right,
from definition to understand what you're tasting, what was cool. Like you may have tasted something in definition cigar that just didn't hit right. So like there's still education in that. There's still
right.
a forwardness in how that works. So I'm happy to hear that has been a part of your experience um with our cigars and what we try to do. So, man, thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome, brother. The pleasure is all mine, man. Again, I always say when I do this show, man, I like to bring people on, not because of their popularity. I like to bring
Yeah,
people that I can learn from, or people that have poured into me, or something about them has made me have questions. I'm
sure,
almost 60 years old. And so it feels good to me. It's like a fountain of youth when you're learning something new all the
hmm
time. When you can
hmm
open up and have a conversation with people and you connect, because they catch things like you did just now that I never really thought about. When I think about it just now, it hit me right before you said it. Like, I
yeah,
think I found my definition, as
right,
it relates
right,
to,
right.
understanding the tobacco and the blends that you guys put out. I found
Yeah,
my definition. I
yeah,
never thought about that shit
yeah.
before, ever before tonight. And that's why, for me, that's why it's so important in these conversations. For those of
Yeah,
y'all that just joined us, I got my man Jamond Hackley, owner of Definition Cigars. He's from the home team right here in the
one
DFW.
hundred
And we're
percent,
sitting
one hundred
having a
percent.
conversation on Conversations with Chevalier. And for those of y'all that are still with us, hit that drop down. We grow the community by following, liking, and sharing. So go in, follow me, follow Jamon or Definition Cigars
Yeah,
if you're not already, and tell everybody everything that you know about this. Now,
100%.
you've been really big about uh, as a company sponsoring. Like you
Sure.
guys are, I believe, sponsoring for uh, the our sisters in Miami,
Yep,
the
yep.
Southern
The
Cigar
Southern
Queens.
Southern
I'm one of
Queens.
the, yeah, I'm one of the, I say
I
ambassadors,
seen
but
you up
they
there.
call us something else. They call us something else. But, and this show for me is actually, because you're one of the sponsors, this
Right.
show for me is sponsored by the Southern Cigar Queens
One
soiree
hundred
that's
percent.
going to happen on January 8th through the 11th. So if you guys
Yep.
haven't gotten your tickets for that yet, go to the Southern Cigar Queens Instagram page, click the link in the bio, and get your tickets and get down to Miami and kick it with them sisters, man. They
Yeah.
are an amazing group of sisters of the elite. They are amazing women. They have a lot of knowledge in this
Yep.
culture. But the most important thing about them is that they love the culture. They immerse
One hundred
themselves.
percent.
They make 100% investment into this culture. So, oh, thank you. Lavella says you're an event liaison. I can remember
Yeah.
what they call for me because I'm old in country. I'll be like, I'm an ambassador. but uh, but uh, but go in, check them out. Go
Yeah.
to the link, and you guys get your tickets, man, and get down to Miami and celebrate those amazing ladies. They were
One
here
hundred
for
percent.
Dallas so fast. I got
Yes.
to kick it with them. I had so much fun with them, man. They're very special people, and
One
we
hundred
need to
percent.
celebrate them for sure. But man, when you do that, when you go out and you sponsor, how do you choose who you want to sponsor a line definition with? What are you
Uh,
looking at when you get those offers and requests like that?
yeah. So, and this is the corporate side of myself, and running this company, is that there has to be alignment between the two brands. We have to align on things in regards to the culture, how we're going to present premium cigars, how they are going to be seen by the people attending the event, and what are we accomplishing. There's a lot of things that I sponsor as well, Chevalier, that I don't ask to be, or the company doesn't ask to be put on any step and repeats or mentions or anything like that. We just do. And when those persons or people that attend whatever it is, it's just a thank you from the organization to them for what they've done in supporting us, that we provide a cigar, provide something in that way back to the community. So I said all that to say, yes, there are strategic partnerships where we look to both yield something from. There is family, which is what the Southern Cigar Queens are, to definition. That is just a no-brainer to be a part of that beautiful event that's going to take place January 8th through the 11th. And then there are times when it is about the business of cigars and what we're looking to accomplish, and we have goals and benchmarks we're looking to hit with certain sponsorship agreements that we have there. So again, I hate to be repetitive. There's so many great words in the English language, but strategy and intentionality with these partnerships are key to the continued growth of the organization and who we want to continue to be to the community.
Wow. One of the more reasons why you're a quiet mentor, man. You don't even know it. You know it today.
Oh man,
You're a quiet mentor, man, and how I try to do things with Chevalier Life, man. It's all about, you know, uh reinforcing the foundation of the culture as a whole. And so
yeah,
when I do this show, it's all about getting to know people that are in the community. We have all these sub communities that make up our culture,
yeah,
and I think the key for the growth of the culture as a whole, for it to maintain, is to try to find key ways or niche ways, in a sense,
yes,
things that are out of the norm, to get these communities to come together, man, and work together so we can grow and
yep,
support without expectation, bro.
one hundred
Like,
percent.
I don't think people understand how important that is. And I try to practice that no matter what. Some people I charge them to go do stuff, other people I don't.
Yep,
I'm learning that as I grow Chevalier life, I want to, be successful. Cigar Mike was in my ear one night. He
You
was
got
like,
to.
you gotta start charging,
You got
and
to.
so I do that now. But man, it's everything that I do is about, you know, solidifying this culture, man, because for the first time, I'm 58, bro. And for
Hmm.
the first time in my life, I've been in the Marine Corps. I've done a lot of things, but this is the first thing that I've ever uh, been so consistent at that it's just become a part of it. And
Right,
it's
right, right.
something to see that in you. I see that in you, man, and it's an amazing thing. And I know we don't have a lot of time. I'm not going to keep you much longer, but I want to
Yeah, you're
ask you
fine.
a couple more questions.
Shoot it.
Give me three things that you would tell a friend that says, "Hey, I want to start something. I'm not sure what kind of business I want to start, but I want to start a cigar focus or cigar centered business."
Yeah,
Give me three things that you would tell them to
yeah.
do.
Number one, um, make sure that you're going into whatever it is, not looking to make money. That can't be a main thing. The second thing I would say, uh, make sure that in whatever you're doing, you're wanting to make an impact in a positive way. Um, Not an impact for your social standing in that particular sector or whatever you're going to do, but leave it better than it was before you got there. Let that
Yeah,
be a main thing.
yeah.
And then lastly, um, if you're going to do it, do it. Don't be half pregnant, if I can use that term,
I would
or
say half pregnant.
or doing the hokey pokey, got one foot in, one foot out. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah,
if you're going to do this, and you're wanting to make an impact, because Chevalier, like when you are not going to commit all the way, you're robbing that person, that man, that woman of their commitment in you and what you are doing, and they're supporting and believing in you. So I take it as a huge responsibility that the people who go into these lounges and buy cigars, and like it's something bigger than I could ever imagine. Like it's like almost a badge of honor for some of our customers to be able to walk into their local lounge, or to be able to travel from Dallas and go to Nashville, Tennessee, and walk into a cigar lounge and see the home team on the retail shelf. There's a responsibility there. So the last point being, and not being so wordy, is just make sure that you're going to commit and give the people something to support, in addition to the other 2 points that I said as main things.
I gotta ask you this, and I ask some people, but I gotta ask you this one.
You
You've
shoot it, brother.
watched, you've watched me
Correct.
from the time I started to where I am today.
Yep.
If you had to give me one word of advice, what would it be?
Don't change. Don't change. And I'm gonna spend a little bit of time with this
Mhm.
response, um, because of the time we've spent on the side and conversations and just watching the and navigating and that sort of thing. I think one of the biggest things that I have admired about you, Chevalier, and how you navigated this, is that you always had the approach of, I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah,
And in having that approach, though, so that can be misconstrued by some people. That can be taken in context of this person not not being driven, or not having a direction, or being aloof. What I always admired is that while you didn't know what you didn't know, there always was this level of confidence still that you maintained throughout the journey of the different things that you tried, and went back to the drawing board on and came back stronger with. There was always this confidence. And I think when I tell you don't change, there are going to be things that you're going to jump into. Your reach is going to be longer, and it's going to spread, and it's going to make you stretch and grow and put you in positions to do really cool stuff. But I say don't change, while just 2 words, but they're very, very impactful and strong in my delivery, is because don't ever lose that quiet confidence inside of whatever you do, because I believe, and I strongly feel this way, that's what has been the quiet light and guide for how you've been able to navigate and be so successful, and not knowing what you didn't know, but being confident enough in what you were doing to grow. And
Man, I
now
be
we see
scared
what you're
every
doing.
time I do anything.
What's
I,
that?
I I be scared as hell anytime I
Yeah.
do anything. This show right here, you heard me when I talked to you this afternoon. Man, I was all messed up, bro. I was like, because if it don't be just right, if it don't be just like I'm one of those people, if the light ain't hitting this side just right, or I be like, I don't even want to do it. So and it's fear. It's not. I'm a fairly humble dude. I'm an outgoing person, but
Sure.
I'm humble. Like a lot of times when it's like I'm throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Right.
And
Right.
so I asked you that because I experienced something not too long ago where somebody walked up to me. I was in Detroit. I
Mm-hmm.
worked for General Motors, and I was up there, and so I was visiting some lounges. And a guy walked up to me and told me that he followed me, right? And I was like, "Oh
Yeah.
man, it's nice to meet you."
Appreciate it.
And he
Yeah.
said, "Why is it nice to meet me?" I said, "Because I appreciate you following me." I said, "I've seen your name." I said, "I can
Yeah.
tell you the last post you like." I really pay attention. And he said, I don't believe that. He said, it seemed to me like you trying to fake like you humble. I said, bro, it's not so much about me being humble, but I'm fairly humble. I said, man,
For sure.
everything I'm doing, I just do this because I just like doing it, man. Like it's
Right.
something that I found that I love. I used to build custom motorcycles for a long time, and I was in a
Yeah.
bike club, and I've done all kinds of stuff, but this,
Yeah.
I never dreamed that I'd be doing this. Had it
Right.
not been for COVID, I don't know what I'd have been doing,
I hear
like a
you.
lot of
I
people.
hear you.
And that's why I asked the question, because I wonder sometimes what people really think about me, or what they see, and it makes me go back to the drawing board and said, okay, I don't want to ever put off something like I'm conceited or I'm cocky or I think
Sure.
I'm this,
Yeah.
because I am nothing like that.
Right.
I'm nothing like that.
Yeah.
Man, it was 3 years ago. I didn't even have a suit, bro. You know what I'm
And look at you
saying? Like,
now. Look at you now.
look at me now. I
You,
got a closet
Al-
full of them. I didn't have a suit. You know
Alexander
what I'm
McQueen sneakers, the whole
saying?
9 yards.
You be seeing everything.
Hey, hey, big bro. I'll tell you something too. I'll share a similar story. And I'm the opposite of you. Man, let me find a corner. Let me go sit down. And for the most part, that's me. A brother in a city. I was there doing a kind of an appearance. Is pretty much what it was. They had the product there, but a brother bought a box of cigars, and um, man, he asked me to sign the box, and I'm like, oh, bro, man, that's kind of really not my thing. And man, I had to take a step back, and I grew in that moment because I offended this brother,
Uh-huh.
because a box of cigars isn't a cheap thing to do, or a commitment to
Yeah.
make. And because he was a supporter of the brand, like he wanted that box to take back to his house and put in his man cave and everything. But man, I had to apologize to him, because again, as I said, there was a moment that I had to grow in, because I never created blends or worked with tobacco to be able to sign boxes and take pictures and things like that.
Uh-huh.
I struggle with that. I do, but people support you, and everyone's way of how they want to show their support and what they want to yield out of supporting you looks different. And
Hmm.
I had to grow in that moment. And I apologize to that brother for that, because that was a miss on me. But you know, it's just it's you don't do we don't do this for that. You
Right,
know,
right.
these flyers nowadays, these and I appreciate them, and I'm not talking bad, but you know, people are asking, hey, we love the DC logo, but hey, is there a picture too of you? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? Like, you shucks. So I've had to get out of my own way to make sure that this is how people want to support the brand. This is how people want to support you, Jamond.
Yeah,
So sometimes it's like that, but you will run up every now and then on someone who sees a social media situation with yourself, Chevalier, where somebody is celebrating you or what have you, and may walk away from that. You know, it's like clickbait, right?
yeah.
We see that 10, 15 second piece, and now we've created a whole narrative. We
Right,
know
right.
everything now. So sometimes you run into that, and the only thing you can do is just, man, show them who you are, bro. In that instance,
Yeah, man. It's, I think we almost teeter tottering on a vulnerability moment that you don't see amongst a lot of men. But man, I tell you something. It's been hard, and I
yeah,
think one of the things that I've experienced, man, is I've had some things happen to me that have truly hurt me to my core, where
sure,
people will say to me, you think you better than me, or
100%.
you do this and you do that, and you up here. So somebody said this to me about a month ago. You doing this, and so you don't have time for us. And I was sitting there going, what? The guy that, hell, you see, I be all over the place, and
One hundred percent.
and so it really hurt me, man. And what it taught me, though, the lesson that it taught me, that I'm still kind of unraveling in my mind. I guess at a certain point of us doing what we do, you almost have to separate yourself. I find myself struggling with, I don't like to separate myself from people. You
Yeah,
know, I always think that people are going to see me for who I am, and accept me for who I am, because that's how I am. And
sure,
what the
sure.
biggest lesson I think I'm learning now is I can't look for me in everybody. And that's
Right.
been a really difficult lesson for me in my journey in the cigar industry. I've had people that reach out to me, man, and then, a couple months later, uh, I realized that the only reason they're talking to me because of something that they saw me do, and they want to do the same thing. And I'd
Correct.
rather be like, hey, man, just ask me. Like, I'm not
Correct.
a gatekeeper. If I can help you, you want to do thoughts of a classic man, shit, just call it something different.
Right. Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but do that. I say, I always tell them I don't have any magical potion. I get up every morning, man, and whatever I'm thinking, I jot it down. And then when I
One
get in
hundred
my truck
percent.
at 4 o'clock to go to work, I complete my thought and I post it when I get in the parking lot.
There it
That's it.
is.
Whatever
Yeah.
song comes to mind after I make that post, the first song that comes to mind is what I play. There is
Hmm.
no
Yeah.
method. There is no me sitting down and plotting out my posts for the week and whatever.
Right. Right.
I might be talking heaven and Jesus one day, and the next day I'm saying fuck it.
Right.
It
100%.
depends on
That's a
how,
real thing.
but it's something to feel like. Uh, well, I'll say it this way. It's been really difficult for me to think that some people look at me and see me as not a nice person because of the thoughts that I'm sharing. You know,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
you know, I would
I
think they
mean,
would go, this guy's journaling. This is his way of journaling, and this is just
right.
thoughts.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. You can't really dictate
Hmm.
um, to someone who wants to believe something anyway, though.
Yeah,
It just is what it is, and you hope that you have that opportunity to imprint on that person through your travels, so that they can get to know the side of you that you want to show. And specifically in our community of cigars, I think there is more of that in some spaces than others, and I think it's derived around something negative happening to that individual,
Mm-hmm.
and that gets transferred over to perspective in this one specific instance of seeing Chevalier in this space. I don't think it has nothing to do with you at all, and that wall is broken down with conversation and authenticity, and who and what you're trying to promote and do. I have a strong piece of advice that I keep for myself, and that's I mean, we and I mean as people, we stoned our Lord and Savior, put him through everything unimaginable and what he went through. So far be it for me to get caught up in what one or two may have to say about me if they
Yeah.
don't know me. I just gotta keep pushing and imprint and have those experiences out here with people in this journey, and hopefully they're good ones, and the ones that aren't as pleasant as others, maybe we can sit down and just have a conversation and have an understanding of, man, what did you see there? And I'm an accountable person in terms of if I've done something to someone, so we can talk through that, and hopefully through conversation and having open ears and closed mouths. Sometimes you just gotta sit and listen. Some of those
That's true.
things can be resolved.
Yeah, that's true. I got to ask you this,
Yes,
and
sir.
because I've always this next question I want to ask you. Again, this is a conversation. I don't even have my questions on the screen. I just have conversations. But man, when you look at the culture, what do you think is the biggest challenge that we as the cigar culture as a whole, what is the biggest challenge that we face in moving forward into the future?
Yeah, I think one of our challenges is being good stewards of evolution of our community and our culture. Um, when you look at anything that has sustained over a period of time, it's going to evolve. You can step back to music. You look at James Brown's music being one of the most sampled pieces of music by an artist in history.
Right,
And as we continue on building our community and building the culture inside of that, being good stewards of what that evolution is going to be and what it looks like. For example, um, I would say 7, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, maybe a little bit far, the introduction or the marriage between DJs and cigars, live bands, that was kind of not the thing, right? And as our age group became older, we moved from the club to still wanting to tap our foot, still want to have a good time. But now we had gotten into cigars. We became more cultured in experiences, right?
right, right,
So now we introduced this new look of what it's like to enjoy a premium cigar. So as the next group that's going to come behind us and take this on to higher heights and deeper depths than what we have, I just I just want them to be intentional and to define what that next step is going to be for the culture. Yes, is that answering your question is a challenge? I feel that it is, because we have to be intentional about it. We can't let this thing just get crazy and we forget about what it is about at the end of the day. And these premium cigars that are made by these hardworking people in these third world countries that we get to enjoy.
right.
So we have to protect that. We have to protect that even inside of the evolution of where our culture and where the cigar community is going. So that is a challenge I feel that we have, and it's a challenge we all should accept to be good stewards of.
I got one last question for you, bro. And I think about this a lot. So I remember being a kid, right? And I remember seeing the giants, Sears, Montgomery Ward,
Yep.
JCP. Out of the three, the only one that's still standing is JCPenney. We had places like Service Merchandise. These were the
Sure.
conglomerates,
Right.
in our time, right? So when you relate that to the cigar world, you have the Arturo Fuentes,
Mm-hmm.
you have the Olivas, the New,
Padrones.
the Patrons, Patels. You have all these
Yep.
major conglomerates. And I always bring this up when I interviewed Carlito
Mm-hmm.
Fuente one time. He talked about his first experience at a trade show, and he said, "You man, I didn't even get one order." And I said, "Really?" He said, "I didn't get one order." And I went back, I went to my dad, and I was like, "Man, I'm fucking this thing up, and I didn't get
Right.
one order." And da da da. And so that started me to thinking about the kind of circle of life of our culture.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I named the big three, only one of them still stands. I think we're going to see that in our culture, of course. I think there's
Mm-hmm.
going to come a time when some of these boutique brands uh, are going to be, they're going to be the conglomerates, and those other ones are going to, God forbid, they're going to go away because they
Sure.
make great cigars. But at some point, every business, everything runs its course. It has its
Right.
season. So when I look at the brands that I think are coming up, Definition is on the top of my list for
Thank you.
being one of those big foundational brands. When you think about Definition, do you see yourself in, say, 10 years becoming a foundational brand based on the growth and the way your company's moving at this point? I do, but I want to know
Chevalier.
how you think about it.
I mean, I I if that's God's will for me, um, and that's the assignment, I'm going to do it. From a flesh standpoint, um, I while I have 5-year plans and strategic planning in terms of how we navigate this, I have all that, but I don't allow myself to think in those ways. I remain um, at the seat of the consumer that is going to pick up my product, and I want to stay there in this season. Once God chooses for a next or a level up for me to have a different perspective, um, I will gladly accept that. But for this season that I'm in, it is about the consumer and staying there. And if that continues to materialize to where there is exponential growth, um, I will continue to be that, and we'll see how things pan out from there. But for I don't, and not trying to get away from your question. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I would enjoy the opportunity to be able to make that type of impact. But right now I'm focused on building these relationships with our retailers and the end customers that come into the lounges and partake and enjoy a cigar. And I want to be there because that's where the 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 meat and potatoes of what we're doing and where we're trying to go. That's where that lives. And for me, that's home.
I tell you what, that might be home, and that was a great answer. But I'm gonna manifest for you. I see it. I see it.
I
And I,
appreciate
I
that.
think I see it more after today's conversation because I feel like, in the years I've known you, today I get to really know you. I get to understand why when I'm sitting in certain rooms and your name comes up and people have this look of respect and admiration for you and what
Man,
you're
that's a
trying.
blessing.
And so I understand it a lot better today than what I probably ever have in the past. And like I said, man, my experience with you, with Definition, man, your brand and your company has done nothing but support me and give me guidance. And I'm not one of those men. I'm a Marine, and I'm a pretty
Yep.
egotistical man every now and then. One thing I've always been is I think the right word would be affable because I can take that constructive criticism and
Yep.
grow with it. Because for me, a person's time is the most valuable thing they can give you. And when a
Yeah.
person stops to give you their time, they want to impart wisdom or tell you something that they think you need to know to help you move to the next level. Man, that is precious to me. And
Yeah.
I thank you. I tip my hat to you for
And thank
always
you,
doing
brother.
that for me, man, and just being that example of what it means to be not only a man in this culture, a man in this city, this area we live in, but
Yes, sir.
also to be a mentor in a sense, unwittingly. And I want you to know that you do that. And I'm sure that if I sat 10 men in the culture right here in Dallas and I asked them the question, who's the guy that you look at and you watch to see what he's doing, and then you're looking at yourself and you're doing some self-analysis. I got a feeling out of those 10, at least 7 of them gonna bring your name up.
I
And if they don't, they missing
appreciate
out
that.
on something, bro. They missing out on something. Look here, this has been Conversations with Chevalier, where we have conversations over cigars. And today, my guest was Jamond Hackley, owner
Thank you.
of Definition Cigars. Hey, leave me with something that you want us to know about you, the man, and about your company.
Oh man, Chevalier. Man, this is where I'm not strong at. I will say this. We're thankful. None of what has taken place up to now has happened without support, with sacrifice from some people who have come out to events just to support. Like you said, CI people came out to celebrate. They could have bought the cigars anywhere in the city, but they chose on that day to come out and celebrate. So I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for your continued support. Something about me, I I'm not afraid to talk. If you see me, I will be in my corner. But man, I'm like a spider or what have you. I'm more afraid of you than you should be of me. So,
Hey,
man,
that's
let's
me.
have a conversation. Let's have a conversation. Don't take my wanting to be in the corner to mean that I don't want to talk cigars or talk tobacco. I'm here for it, and I appreciate you guys.
Well, I tell you what, man, this is my last show of the year, and this meant the world to me, man, to have
Man,
you
thank you for having me, brother.
on my show, man. I've wanted to do it for so long, and I tell you, one of these days I'm gonna ask Jamon, and then I get ready to come over there and ask you, and I get scared. I don't know what that is with me with this whole fear thing. I get nervous,
Yeah,
bro. But I always say to myself, I've started to look at that a different way, and I say, when it's gonna happen, when it's supposed to happen,
right.
I'll jump out there, and then it'll happen. And that's what happened today. And let me run my music, man. You know, before I get off the show, I gotta always play my jam, man, because this
Let's
is the
do it.
one that gets me out. This track is called "Won't Let Go" by Philip Doc Martin, amazing smooth jazz artist. I had him on the show about 2 months ago, and I'm gonna take this time, man, to raise a glass of this Basil Hayden's to you, my brother. Thank
Salute to
you.
you, brother.
I pray for you, man. I believe
Please
in you.
do.
I will always
Likewise.
support Definition. And I thank you for being my guest on Conversations with Chevalier. One more thing before I go. Hey, this show is sponsored by the Southern Cigar Queens. They got a birthday soiree coming up January 8th through the 11th. Go to their Instagram, click on the
Check it
link,
out.
get you some tickets, and go to Miami and kick it with my homegirls. Now, if you can't go, still get the tickets and support, because
Right.
support is how we grow this culture, man, and we keep it thriving and growing. In the Chevalier
100%.
lifestyle, we do 4 things. We smoke the cigar, we sip the whiskey, we sing to the music, and savor the cuisine. I have been blessed tonight to have my new friend. I'm going to call you a friend more than just a mentor.
100%.
And man, thank you for being on Conversations with Chevalier. Thank you all for watching the show. Y'all have a great night. Stay safe, stay smoky, and Merry Christmas. Shit.
Merry Christmas. Salute, big
All
brother.
right, bro. All right, I'll talk to you soon. Enjoy your night with your partner,
All right.
man. All right, talk to you soon, bro.
All right, brother.
All right now.